everyone. Welcome to Meta Interviews with Klara Kopi. Today I'm here with Rob. He's a CEO and co-founder of Illust, a very cool project. Hi Rob, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Can't complain. Summertime.
It's hot and yeah, we're all excited to do things.
Exactly.
And yeah, let's talk a bit about you and how you came to be on this place. Like, what's your background? Where did you come from? And what
Sure.
do you think is important for people to know about you and how you came to this place now?
Sure. Uh yeah. I guess how early do you want me to start? It's been an interesting ride. But I don't know. I could start with kind of like the first getting into the business or more getting into immersive technologies. But I don't know for your audience what they might prefer.
Yeah, what do you think is best? Because you can talk
Okay,
about your background in everything you did, or you till now. Like, what's
cool.
your what was the road you took till you got
Sure.
here to Web3 and metaverse building?
Totally. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll give you the Spark Notes version of it. So I had a really incredible study abroad program where I went out to Ghana, Africa, and West Africa, and saw that entrepreneurship was really the way of being able to level up in socioeconomic status, to be able to create value for society, create jobs,
Yeah.
and that really inspired me to kind of take. I went from finance into entrepreneurship because of that experience, and have really been on the entrepreneurial track ever since. And so what kind of got me the to this area of immersive technologies, the metaverse.
Hmm.
It was just kind of one open door after another, from really doing a lot of production, working in VR, doing music videos, doing storytelling, with influencers on behalf of brands and record labels. As augmented reality started to actually have a social component, thanks
Hmm.
to Snapchat and Instagram, via Spark AR and Lens
Yeah.
Studio, I ended up getting brought into the Spark AR team at Facebook to help them launch Spark amongst the creator community,
Cool.
amongst the motion designers, 3D artists, some of the most creative and technical people that are in the game. And that was in 2019 at South by that we
Hmm.
did the first activation, um, and that really sent me headfirst into really trying to crack the cookie of what does AR look like? What does the world outside look like when we have
Hmm.
anybody and everybody being able to publish experiences that are
Yeah.
digital, that are talking about stories, talking about IP, and how can we do that in the most equitable and the most open and centralized way possible, which kind of brings us to today.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I was thinking that's a very interesting choice to start building a metaverse space with AR. That's something that, well, people actually use it all the time with filters and creating these interactions on the social media. So I think it's a more accessible way of interacting with this layer of reality. I liked it. And
100%.
yeah, and I'm very excited to watch it after to explore it a little bit more, because yeah, it's very different from what we are used to seeing metaverse style. And
Yeah, it's a lot more participatory when the I guess when you have a computer in your pocket, aka
mm-hmm,
your smartphone device, that's able to run these complex computations. It really creates an opportunity for anyone to participate in the metaverse,
yeah,
and it allows us to kind of tap into, we don't necessarily have to be a Unity developer, we don't have to be, an Unreal Engine wizard to be able
yeah,
to construct a really simple but yet tactful digital graphic that's on the beach or on the boardwalk, or on a mountain or wherever it might be. So it really creates a much more broad access point for people to jump into Web3,
yes.
into the metaverse, who might not have been able to be exposed to it before.
Yeah, because usually the metaverse experience, they're awesome, but you kind of need some computer power that most people don't have, because some metaverses are very heavy and they rely on very powerful computers to be a smooth ride. And then yeah, when you can do that on your cell phone, well, you level the field way more. Like anyone can go there and create something and see those artists in the real world interacting, and that's real cool.
Exactly, exactly. Um, but yeah, it's what's also fun about it too is I think this is really important for uh, participation. Is that when the average individual who doesn't necessarily have some of these more prolific skill sets is able to still participate in the creation process, um, they're at least able to have some almost like a gateway into kind of understanding the world. So when we have really simple ways of communicating through AR, through geo anchoring an experience, a message, and we do it in a way that's really easy and really simple, it allows the content creator to kind of be immersed and see what the possibilities are and be more susceptible to messages from other people, because they're both not only the they're not only the observer, but they're also the participant.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it kind of creates a two-way street.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm sure. Oh, am I froze? Okay, that's amazing. I yeah, things about this virtual world has this stuff. And that's very cool to create more possibilities for the creators to access this Web3 world and dealing with your art in a more decentralized way, in a more free way, and less gate kept. That's awesome. And how was your transition from what that you said that you worked before as an entrepreneur? Do you think that there actually was a transition between your previous work area and jumping into Web3 and blockchains?
Yeah. It wasn't as much of a jump as some of my peers. I think it was really like a gradual transition into the space. I think it really collided with, I mean, social AR and the metaverse. Uh, it, it's really about philosophy at that point, and at least for my philosophy and the philosophy of the team
Mm-hmm.
is that we really want to be able to create an environment where anyone can participate and where value is not predetermined by a single
Entity, yeah,
person, entity, project, whomever. It's actually determined by the populace themselves. And I think this kind of like efficient pricing is good for both, the buyers and the sellers of the goods. In the long term, it creates long-term efficiency,
mm-hmm.
and it's also something that um, you can truly scale. And so I think that as we're kind of assessing what makes the most sense, we're really trying to lean hard into decentralization,
Mm-hmm.
um, for a wide variety of reasons. One of the biggest reasons for us, though, is just this ability for so many different actors to be able to kind of add their fingerprints to the
Yeah,
system in ways that we never thought were even possible, or we wouldn't even consider as like a centralized part of the business, that it could have life outside of, on the confines of, our board meetings and our team meetings, which I think is just such a right place for exploration. And we're just really tapping into just tapping underneath the surface barely.
that's awesome. And do you think that this entrance on the Web3 blockchain space change the way that you dealt with your life? Like you changed everything in your routine, and yeah, it's something very personal about how did this affect your life?
Yeah, I think some degrees yes, some degrees no. I think in social situations, I think there's a tendency to want to start instantly talking about the space, which could off-put some of my friends who are not Web3 adjacent.
Yeah.
Um, I think I've always been in the position of dealing with. I mean, again, having been in entrepreneurship now for close to 10 years, having and my lifestyle has been very similar in the sense that it's been chaotic always, but there's some consistency in the chaos. So
Yeah.
Web3 was just only I guess a magnification of some of the chaos you experience as an entrepreneur between how quickly the space moves,
Mm-hmm.
how dynamic things are, technologies that are coming out, the players that are pushing the needle, and then also the rewards on the other side for for being first to market in some of these different paradigm shifting technologies. So I think what's always kind of kept me sane is really trying to get a keen understanding of what's signal from noise amongst all of the hype, and then relating that back to kind of our core focus and our core vision for what the technology is going to be. And there's a lot of things that there's a lot of things I wish I could have participated in or had the time to focus on to be in the mix with Web3. But I think that's also can't look, hindsight's always 2020. So just trying to keep focused on what's the core that we're focusing on outside of some of these pretty incredible headlines.
Yeah. Yeah, there's always this is one of the, the hardest things, like not going, not looking everywhere that's shiny. Oh, look, the shiny new thing. Ah, it's so hard sometimes to filter because you have a lot of stimulus and a lot of possibilities to get involved in awesome new projects. And oh my God, how do I maintain focus with that? It is really hard. But we can do it.
Totally.
With time, we'll
Exactly.
learn.
Exactly. Yeah, a way that we've been able to somewhat capture that essence was we started doing like internally as a team
Mhm.
crypto chat, and so the crypto chat is literally we just sit down for an hour and everyone shares projects, things that they found was really exciting, just like what's like who are the movers and shakers, like
Cool.
also just so we can educate ourselves and apprise ourselves of some of these things that are happening in real time. As a builder in the space, it's just really good to be on top of that too. So it's taken a little bit of the FOMO away, because now I feel like it's at least
Yeah,
almost baked into the managed process of our weekly meetings.
that's cool. It's a very good idea. Nice. Like it.
Thanks.
And do you have plans to have a DAO, or are you involved in any DAO at the moment? What do you think of that?
Yeah. I mean, I think DAOs are a phenomenal testing beaker for everything from social sciences to the sciences themselves. I love this kind of renaissance of uh, enlightenment thinking that's applied
Mm-hmm.
to technology. I think it's an area that is just completely ripe for innovation. I think for us internally, there's a couple of risks that there's certain areas that we could go down direction. I think there's some core value propositions that we want to make sure are clearly identified and delivered to our customers before we start to uh, go fully decentralized.
Yeah.
There are areas that we definitely want to have kind of like a mixed model where we could have some decentralization, especially when it comes to the community and community governance. Like there's definitely uh, a lot of valid points to be made about creating a DAO and when it comes to content moderation and certain moderation of AR channels.
Yeah.
And it's something that we're definitely going to be exploring. But yeah, I mean, I'm a part of a couple DAOs, a loose contributor. Again, just time is really difficult, and I wish I
Yeah.
could be more active. But I do find this. I love the heartbeat of the space and just how we're really trying to make organizations more efficient, more trustworthy through trustless and through provenance and through things that Web3 has to offer.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm very much into that. I'm loving it. It's a great learning curve that I've been going through all these stages of learning Web3, and not actually learning, actually living it, because learning sometimes is too hectic. Just living it sometimes is easier than just reading about it.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it's a lot easier to also um, excuse me.
No problem.
I think it's a lot easier to it's there's a core difference between what's theoretical and what's practical.
Yeah.
And I think too often it's really easy for us to just kind of read the tea leaves and like what the equation says versus to actually think about what does, some of these more human like attributes affect the equation overall. And I think there's a lot of evidence to come in right now. And I think being an active player and in this is it's just like it's a giant testing beaker, which is really cool.
Yeah. Uh, no, yeah. Now talking about your project, about the inspiration that the motivation you had to create uh Illust, like where did this spark to start it came from?
Yeah, it really came from a couple doors opening and a couple doors closing. One of the doors that really opened up for me was so having worked with the Facebook team with the on
Mm-hmm.
Spark AR and their creator tools, just kind of seeing what their roadmap was and seeing how they plan to continuously silo the technology as well as uh, have complete content ownership rights over all of the published AR effects on
Mm-hmm.
through Spark AR in the terms of service. Seeing that was, that's the direction that they were going, and this is in 2020, late 2019 that we started, but 2020 where we were officially incorporated. But just kind of seeing that there was again this undercurrent that was going on, like super rare it was super fascinating for me, and seeing the traction that super rare was really getting in early 2020, and
Mm-hmm.
they were starting to publish more rich types of media through super rare, and seeing that went from just strictly PNGs and photos to I remember like I think it was the first MP4 with audio was with RAC back in the day, and RAC was actually one of our partners. My business partner and I started an agency to build out graphics for
Oh.
social AR, and and RAC was one of our clients. So seeing that, it really kind of pulled us even deeper
Mm-hmm.
into the space. And my business partner came from the Spark, excuse me, the Snap ecosystem with Lens Studio,
Mm-hmm.
and he was one of their first creative partners over there. So
Oh.
we basically conjoined forces and saw the writing on the walls with a lot of the creators that we had worked with, from the label side, starting to dip their toes into Web3. And we realized that we want to actually create a place where all these experiences that are currently residing on a desktop could be actually experienced in the physical world.
Yeah.
And so that really kind of led us down a pathway of creating what you can now experience today in Illust.
That's awesome. Yeah, I like very much this idea of ownership in Web3, right? Because socials are cool, but it's kind of frustrating when everything you create is just other people's properties. Like, what?
It's 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 it's
It's
it's a
insane.
steal. It's a
Yeah.
steal.
And you gain nothing for that. Like, people use your work, you create, you spend a lot of time studying, working, and putting yourself out there, and you get nothing in return. At tops, you get more followers or something like that. But when it comes to paying your bills and living a good life, a comfortable life, being paid for your work, as being paid is important, is an important
Yeah,
aspect of doing work.
yeah. It's to throw insult to injury. I think one of Zuckerberg's initiatives after I had left was to reward the creators, the ones that are creating these AR effects. If you if you generated X amount of effects, you get a badge, and that was it. You
Oh
get a nice little badge. You get a digital cookie,
God.
and that digital cookie would basically represent all of your blood, sweat, and
Oh.
tears toiling over Spark Air. So a little disconnected from the reality of things. And I think, messaging and awareness is always something that it's just it kind of is, I maybe it's indicative of just the business model in itself, because information siloing and these particular activities help foster the bottom line for centralized systems. So I think it just only shows the disparity between what's trying to be built in Web3 versus what's being built in Web2. But I think they're now trying to have a mixed model, and we'll see how that plays out. And have to take it seriously, because they are the 800-pound gorilla in the room. So
Yeah, because I think we're pretty much done with this starving artists thing. Like, come on, guys.
right.
Why did you choose to build on Near protocol?
Sure. Yeah. So we've had a lot of conversations with everyone in the ecosystem, from those with the resources, those who are building, those who are influencing, and we really saw that Near had some of the smartest people in the room. People who are we really look up to the people who are in the ecosystem as well. So it just felt like a natural fit for what we're trying to accomplish with our whole project. It felt like a very natural, both in philosophical and also in like a structural component of a fit.
Yeah, people talk a lot about how efficient the Near technology is, and a bunch of people came with projects because of that. Like, only not only the technology, but the community also is very active, and Near has been supporting a lot creative projects. That's really
Mm-hmm.
cool.
Exactly.
And what are your thoughts on the metaverse? Like, how do you think that having a virtual space on the metaverse, or in your case, building this layer on top of reality, will help projects reach their objectives, or yourself?
Yeah, definitely. Um, it's really interesting. So in the AR side of the coin, I'd say that the metaverse is literally out. It's literally outside,
Yeah.
and so it's a really easy access point for IP, for brands, for creators, for really anyone who's hosting an event, hosting a game, hosting an IRL activation, to be able to communicate in a more enriching and a deeper way with their audiences.
Yeah.
To be able to actually have a whole new suite of tools for being able to engage people outside of siloed applications, I think is really cool. So the way that we kind of look at Illust is we're more or less giving people the ability to discover and create their own reality. And if we are able to take all the different realities from all the different people who are contributing to this whole ecosystem, then we might have like an actual a more informed perspective of what the world might look like, and what how I guess a collective understanding of reality is really the idea. So I think that's something that we really want to strive for as a company, is to kind of build a more informed perspective of reality, and to again give the tools to those who want to start building and doing that. So yeah, the metaverse is very much alive, and is very much is something that anyone can participate in. So
Yeah, I think it's like I said before, it's very cool that you're bringing another view, usually from what people think of the metaverse. I actually never saw anyone referring to an AR project as a metaverse, and this is very interesting. I like the different view of the different way of viewing it. It's awesome.
yeah, it's everyone is basically entitled to their worldview. So if you think of your metaverse and my metaverse, they're all different layers
Yeah,
that might be able to kind of tune into like a radio channel, and just kind of like
yeah,
jump into different different layers that might have, completely different visual representations and presentations, and they might have completely different, goals or focuses, but all of them put together kind of encapsulate this. I guess I've heard the term omniverse, but
Yeah. Some people say
uh,
multiverse.
multiverse, yeah.
That's cool. So, what are you working on now?
Sure. So, yeah, so one of the big projects that we're working on is this. There's two big projects we're working on. One of which gives more access to publishing. Gives really any blockchain project, any creator, anyone the ability to immediately geofence digital
Wow.
experiences, digital content into the world. And that project is called the Geospatial Registry. Thank you. And that clap should be for our CTO and the development team, because I'm just helping bring it
Wow.
more to market. But yeah, the GSR is really exciting because this allows really anybody to establish provenance for digital goods in the physical world. Again, as we had, illustrated earlier, that's one of the core issues with Web 2 is that the gatekeepers are defining the provenance of the digital assets in their
Yeah.
ecosystems. But when we have all these different chains and all these different publishers, what we're doing is we're basically leveraging the point where someone actually purchases an object or an asset, and running that against the actual chain, the chain log that transaction actually occurred, and we're assigning like an actual individual wallet, whatever it might be,
Mm-hmm.
to that object, and then allowing them immediately from a marketplace to establish if they want to live in a certain area or not. And that'll allow anyone who in the future wants to maybe purchase an asset just from walking down the street to be able to do so and know that it was actually the legit one that's being purchased, not just someone
Awesome.
that copy and pasted. Um, and it also allows us to access every blockchain as well. So it's going to work across Near, it's going to work across Ethereum, it's going to work across Solana, and every major marketplace. We're right now in discussions to we're going to have an SDK that people or marketplaces can use to be able to give their collectors the ability to
Oh,
start anchoring these assets. Yeah.
that's awesome. So, now
Um,
to wrap it up, because I know you're
yeah.
short on time, if you could give some words of wisdom to those who are starting now, what would you say?
Sure. Um, yeah, I think, let's see, especially starting out, I think there's always a honeymoon phase, and then there's always kind of like it's kind of like the adoption cycle. You have, the 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 hype phase, then you have like the trough of disillusionment, if you will. Such a aggressive name, but I love it. Um, but I think oftentimes we get really excited by things, and then we follow through, but then we don't stick with it. And granted, there could be reasons because product market fit's not there, or costs just aren't there, or what have you. But honestly, I think just putting one foot in front of the other is really important because you never know what's actually going to happen,
Yeah.
around the corner. And there's so many times in at least my career and this business even where you know things change so quickly and it's so dynamic that just being in the game and playing in the game allows you to truly be a player, despite sometimes it might seem like it's too far away or not possible.
Yeah.
So and then the other part of it too is just really trying to perceive what's signal from noise, because otherwise you can start to go a little cuckoo seeing all of the headlines, because not all the headlines are also true. And I guess the last one is that you're not alone, because there's a lot of people out here that are trying to start businesses that are dealing with some of the craziness of the cycles, but
Yeah.
you're not alone. And I think if you ever want to reach out to me, I'm always an open book. I love talking to other people who are pursuing what they're excited about and passionate about. So yeah, we're all in this together.
That was awesome, Rob. Thank you so much for everything you said. I think your project looks amazing. Congratulations. I hope
Thanks,
to
Klara.
see way more of you in the future. And yeah, good luck with everything. And thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Klara. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great week.